Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk today about the show trial, basically, of Daniel Penny, a man who I think is a hero, and I think that more people should be talking about this trial. It's been pretty disturbing, the things I've seen so far, so I want to go over that, but first I want to show you a picture of a young Daniel Penny. This is him from 2015. Daniel, of course, is a Marine veteran. Now, I want you to hear in his own words what happened
East
that
Village in
day.
Manhattan, so I take the subway multiple times a day.
So here he's talking about how this began, the situation with Jordan Neely.
In this instance, I was coming from school. I got out of class around 2:15, and I took I was at J Street Metro Tech, took the Uptown F train. At 2nd Avenue, a man came on, stumbled on. He appeared to be on drugs.
Okay, so that's obviously Jordan Neely.
The doors closed, and he ripped his jacket off and threw it at the people sitting down to my left.
So people will say, oh, he was a good boy. He didn't do nothing wrong. He just wanted to impersonate Michael Jackson. He just wanted to moonwalk, and that evil Daniel Penny, he stopped him.
I was listening to music at the time, and he was yelling, so I took my headphones out to hear what he was yelling. And the three main threats that he repeated over and over was...
Okay, so he just describes basically what happened, which was that this individual was acting in a threatening manner, and he looked around and saw there were women and children on the train, and he felt like he had to act and had to basically temporarily restrain him until somebody else could come to help. Like, he didn't obviously have any intentions of harming him. So I want to start with this. Prosecutors from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's office are asking the judge overseeing Daniel Penny's trial to not let witnesses call the Marine veteran a good Samaritan or a hero in court. So if that was the impression and that's how witnesses felt, they should be able to use those words to describe it, but they have to control the language and they have to control the optics, because this isn't about the truth. This isn't about letting people speak the way that they want to. This is about creating a false narrative. This is a thread summarizing Daniel Penny's lawyer's opening statements. Mr. Neely throws his jacket on the floor, makes demands, and takes on a fighting stance. He says, "Give it or I'll take it." Concern turns to fear. He's talking about going back to Rikers, being ready to pass on. Neely is moving up the subway car and he begins to lunge at people. Neely sets his sight on a bench of female passengers. Daniel sees a mother with a child behind a stroller. Neely says, "I will kill." There was no opportunity to de-escalate, to spill a soda or anything. Danny leaps into action, left arm over shoulder. You will hear witnesses call Danny and his conduct respective, non-aggressive, meant to protect. Because remember, they can't say he acted as a good Samaritan. They can't call him a hero. So they have to use these other descriptors. Jordan Neely did not want the police to come. He had an active warrant out for his arrest, and he aggressively resists. I recommend that you follow Inner City Press on X, that they are at Inner City Press. He's in New York, Matthew here, and I know he always attends these trials, and he basically gives you like a live play-by-play of what's happening. So if you kind of want that breakdown, make sure you follow him. He puts this out and he attends these trials every single day. He does great work. Daphne Uran is the New York Assistant District Attorney that is arguing the case against Daniel Penny. Penny, along with another passenger on the New York City subway train, stopped a frothing, drug-addled Michael Jackson impersonator who was having a psychotic break from terrorizing a train car full of New Yorkers. Daniel Penny employed a BJJ rear naked chokehold, I don't know what that means, to subdue the man. Once police arrived at the scene, they observed the assailant still breathing, but they refused to provide mouth-to-mouth in fear of catching a disease from the unkempt aggressor. So maybe that's on the NYPD. The police tried other means of emergency aid to no avail. The assailant passed on, and toxicology revealed that he had the presence of something called K2, also known as spice, in his system. So if this is somebody who already has some kind of mental illness, when you take that stuff, when you're on that, that can kind of trigger that. For his heroic efforts of protecting New Yorkers in his presence that day, Penny, a military veteran, was charged with manslaughter and also, I should add, criminally negligent homicide, and is being persecuted, I would say, not prosecuted. Given the body cam footage, and this just came out during the trial, this was not released prior to that, which it should have been. And this also shows that this trial never should have happened, because the district attorney's office has had all of this evidence the whole time. They knew this. So the body cam from the officers refusing to provide direct mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, the presence of drugs in the system of the assailant, and his threats to harm all of the others on the train, the charges against Penny never should have been brought. He should have been given a medal. All charges should be dropped immediately. I agree. Daphne Uran is exactly the kind of person that I would expect to be arguing the case against a protector like Daniel Penny. Quote, she has prosecuted some of Manhattan's most notorious murderers, yet she or her bosses somehow found this case of self-defense worthy of prosecution. And take a good look at the faces of tyranny in our country, because this is one of them. Moving on, prosecutors keep referring to Daniel Penny as the white man because they know that to a New York jury, being white makes him more likely to be guilty. I believe that that's true. I mean, they're just saying this over and over and over again. There's a reason that they're doing that, and the reason is because they don't have an actual case. At the grand jury hearing, prosecutors emphasize Daniel Penny is white and Jordan Neely is black. They could have simply referred to them as the defendant and the victim, but of course, this is a show trial. The Daniel Penny trial has been explicitly racialized by the state and prosecution. Reporting on the fact that the woke are anti-white racist does not mean you are woke also. It is a lament that there is unilateral racial hatred coming from one side and not the other. A man's life is at stake here. That is Connor Tomlinson responding to James Lindsay, who thinks that if you just point out what's happening at the trial here, that this is somehow woke. There is an article put out by American Thinker. This is Daniel Penny's trial revelations. And there is something here that I think is perhaps potentially cause for hope. And that is the sheer number of jurors who have experienced some type of issues on public transportation in New York, and it's basically all of them. Juror number 1 has seen outbursts on the subway before and feels apprehensive about being physically threatened. Juror number 4 has witnessed subway outbursts and felt personally targeted. Juror number 5 has witnessed outbursts and felt personally targeted. Juror number 6's daughter was once assaulted in Times Square. Juror number 7 has seen outbursts. Juror number 9's husband survived a street mugging and said, yes, of course she's witnessed subway outbursts. Juror number 10 is a woman who endured harassment on a near-empty subway cart. Juror number 11 survived a robbery 4 years ago, said he has witnessed outbursts as well. Juror number 12 has also seen outbursts. So I don't know if that is a random subsection of, is that just what it's like, living in New York, that basically every single person has experienced in their lifetime some type of issue like this. They go on to say blame can be laid at the feet of the medical and pharmaceutical industry, which decades ago proclaimed mental institutions obsolete thanks to drugs supposedly being able to alleviate symptoms of mental illness. The failures of legislatures and courts to forcibly confine the mentally ill for their safety and hours is the problem. I don't think we need to go back to having tons of asylums, but I do think that there is an issue with mental illness, and I think that is a spiritual cause, but that's just my opinion. Many afflicted individuals self-medicate with street drugs, including Jordan Neely. Neely abused K2, which causes acute psychotic episodes, dependence, intense hallucinations, severe agitation, paranoid delusions, and can lead to violence. A journalist should investigate Neely to learn how he funded this habit, including if he was receiving government assistance or resorted to crime. I think that that's a good point. Society failed Jordan Neely at all. The homeless population is mostly a mental health street drug crisis metastasizing over half a century, where when urban residents casually step over zombies' bodies sprawled across sidewalks and doorways, a national conversation is long overdue. I think that this is very good points. And so moving on, though, here's some of the things that witnesses have said. Witness Cadron, I think that's how you pronounce it, Shrunk, says, in that moment, when Mr. Penny took him down, I did have a sense of relief that the threat was gone. If Neely would have gotten up, who knows what he would have done. Exactly. Ivan says, whenever a white man is accused of a crime, it is never just him on trial, but the entire white race on trial, because they make everything about race. Subway chokehold trial, I thought I was going to die, witness says. This is the first time in my life where I took a moment because I thought I was going to die, says Cadron Shrunk, a senior brand manager for a running shoe company. Originally from the Midwest, Shrunk testifies she rode the subway system frequently, has experienced outbursts before, but this day was different. He had said, I don't care if I die, I don't care if you die, lock me up for life. Very, very, very aggressive threats. Everything he was saying was so believable. It was from his heart. It was a satanic belief in what he was saying was going to be his action. So that individual has actually described Jordan Neely as having a satanic belief, but I think that what they're getting at is like being under demonic oppression, you know, which happens especially to people who are prone to mental illness and who are on narcotics. It's easier for the demons to influence you. Now, this was a witness that was actually brought by the prosecutors. What did they hope to accomplish? Where are all the people who were wringing their hands over the claim that Neely only died because he was homeless and asking for help? This is another witness. A woman on the same train as Jordan Neely said she was very scared hearing his rantings from further away on the subway car, and she later thanked Daniel Penny for intervening. Alethea Giddings, a daily subway rider, said she couldn't see the troubled homeless man from her vantage point on the train, but as his tirade got louder, much louder, she recalls Neely saying, I don't give a D, I will kill a MFer, I'm ready to die. I was scared, she said. Giddings, who couldn't fully see the melee between Neely and Penny, said afterwards she thanked the Marine for stepping in. So even the prosecutor's witnesses are saying they thanked Daniel Penny. This witness in the Daniel Penny trial surely helps the defense, because the key question to be answered is whether Penny's hold on Neely recklessly caused Neely's death. This individual says, I've seen a lot of unstable people and this felt different. Witness Lori Citro said even though she'd seen many troubled people during her 30 years riding the subway systems, Jordan Neely's rant felt different and scary enough that she felt she needed to barricade her 5-year-old son from Jordan Neely. No, I did not feel safe when he was moving around erratically, Citro said. I've taken the subway for 30 years and I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of unstable people. This feels different to me. I felt concerned enough to put a barrier in front of my son, the mother said, adding her fear of Neely was next level. She said Neely was coming within a foot or closer to people's faces on the F train subway car he was riding, and she was scared of what he might do. When Marine veteran Penny intervened, she was relieved. She said it didn't seem like Neely was resisting much against Penny, who put the troubled homeless man in a chokehold, and it didn't seem like his breathing was under distress. Citro said she didn't think Penny was trying to choke Neely, and she was shocked to learn that Neely had died from the maneuver. Well, I would suggest maybe that's not how he died. This is another video that has come out. And of course, there was another person who testified, or this is from the 911 call. The actual person who phoned in to police said there's a guy on the train saying he's ready to go to jail. He's going to harm people. This guy stepped in and now he's holding him down. That's Yvette Rosario, the 911 caller. So even the person who reported this described Daniel Penny as like the person who stepped in and described Jordan Neely as the aggressor, the person who's threatening people, saying he's ready to go to jail. So I think that that is all very telling. And it's concerning to me the way that this trial is proceeding, the fact that it was even brought to begin with, now that we've seen so much that has come out. And I would like to see more people talking about this and speaking up in defense of Daniel Penny. But that's my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. And that's all for today. Have a good day.